On the day of the Queen's death, a spectacular double rainbow appeared in the skies over Buckingham Palace. Many feel this was a powerful sign that Queen Elizabeth II is now resting in heaven, and her soul is at peace. But what will happen to Her Majesty's body? Actually, it's all been carefully planned almost 60 years ago, and had been kept top secret for decades. The original plan was known as Operation London Bridge, but since the Queen died in Scotland and not in England, they will now follow Operation Unicorn. The day of the Queen's passing is called D-Day. However, because the tragic news was shared late Thursday, D-Day was shifted one day later to Friday. Bells tolled in churches across the country, and gun salutes sounded in Hyde Park. One shot for each year of her life. 96 shots in total. At Buckingham Palace, mourners gathered in their thousands to pay their respects and to lay flowers at the gate. However, the Queen's body is still in Scotland. She was moved from Balmoral Castle by hearse and taken to the palace of Holyrood House. The Queen was expected to lay in state there for 2 days before being moved to St. Giles Cathedral, where mourners could visit and pay their respects. On Monday, she is expected to be taken overnight by royal train from Scotland back to Buckingham Palace in London. On Wednesday, she will be moved to the Palace of Westminster, where millions of mourners are expected to line the streets. Just like with Diana's funeral, Prince William and Harry will follow behind the Queen's coffin on foot, joined by other members of the royal family. During the procession, Big Ben will toll at 1-minute intervals, accompanied by gun salutes in Hyde Park. Elizabeth will lie in state for 5 days in Westminster Hall. Not before 10 days after her passing, the Queen's final funeral will take place at Westminster Abbey. From there, she will be taken to her final resting place at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, in the King George VI Memorial Chapel, alongside her mother and father and sister. Currently, Prince Philip's coffin is resting in the royal vault, but after the Queen is finally laid to rest, Philip will be moved to join his wife. The royal family is expected to enter 1 month of mourning, a period determined by the new king, Charles III. Interestingly, Charles could have followed royal tradition and chosen any name as king as he pleased. It was widely thought he'd settle for George VII, in honor of his grandparents, George VI and the Queen Mother. Instead, Charles followed in the footsteps of his mother and chose to keep his given Christian name as king. And it would make sense, given that Queen Elizabeth was the longest reigning British monarch in history. It meant Charles was king in waiting longer than anyone ever. So to change his name now would be weird, to say the least. But as new king, he does not have the luxury of mourning. Like his mother before him, duty comes first. While Charles will presume the Queen's duties immediately, some think he might also take on issues that traditionally previous monarchs have deliberately kept clear of, like political and social issues. Charles is notoriously passionate about climate change, which many royal experts believe he will address as king. Charles's title is not the only one that changed. Prince William also inherited his father's former title, along with the titles of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Will and Kate are now also the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall, and it was immediately changed on their social media accounts. The new titles might not mean more roles and responsibilities. William and Kate were both already senior working royals and have already taken on more roles in the past years. As for Prince Harry and Meghan, their titles are unchanged. But it is, however, very likely, due to royal rule and tradition, and the fact that Harry moves up in succession, that their kids will become Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Sadly, even though Harry left as soon as he could, he reportedly did not make it in time to say goodbye. Fans fear this might fill Harry with deep sadness and regret. I hope he got there in time to say goodbye, knowing how, he said, his final conversation with his mum has haunted him.
It was her speaking from Paris, and, you know, I can't really necessarily remember what I said, but all I do remember is probably, you know, regretting for the rest of my life the whole short phone call was. And if I'd known that that was the last time I was going to speak to my mother, the things I would have said to her.
Prince William, along with Charles and Camilla, Prince Edward and Sophie, and Prince Andrew, were reported to be by the Queen's side in her final moments. Neither Meghan nor Kate joined their husbands to Scotland. Kate reportedly had to stay behind with their 3 children. Harry and Meghan shared a tribute to his grandmother. On their Archwell website, they suspended all links and pages, and with a black background, simply wrote, "In loving memory of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, 1926 to 2022. And for his first public statement as king, Charles wrote, "The death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of the greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother." And in his first address to the nation, the new king said,
"I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow. Throughout her life, Her Majesty the Queen, my beloved mother, was an inspiration and example to me and to all my family."
No one can know for sure what is the future of the monarchy without its beloved queen, Elizabeth II. But drastic changes can definitely be expected. For one, Charles plans to modernize the royal family, and even more, to slim it down. Charles the King will be nothing like Charles the Prince.
I'm not that stupid. I do realize that it is a separate exercise being sovereign. The idea somehow that I'm going to go on exactly the same way if I have to succeed is complete nonsense, because the two situations are completely different.
Do you think the monarchy can survive without its queen? Or do you think Charles will make a great king? Let us know what you think, and stay tuned for more royal news.